Do you think there's part of your of what you went through that has made you good at the job that you do now? Or
Oh,
was it something maybe that you learned from being part of the Navy that makes you good at what you're doing now?
I think the two things that I really remember that I definitely use in my current practice, bearing in mind that, I'm currently doing performance coaching, which is nothing like counting the bullets, blankets, and beans on board a ship. The first one is using intelligence to create rapport. So getting to really know people. Um, and particularly if I think about the stressful situations on board ship, one of the chaps who was meant to be one of my communication specialists started to get so stressed he couldn't speak to me very well. And so, kind of knowing him the way that I did, finding a way to get him to calm down so he could carry on speaking to me. And then the other thing is getting behind how people present. So often we see people behaving oddly or badly, and we take them on face value and don't get curious about why they're showing up that way. And what I do know, again, from the flood, is people don't always show up the way that you expect when they're stressed, and kind of getting super curious about why that might be and what's going on for them, and therefore how you need to respond in order to get them uh, to perform as best as they can be in some quite difficult circumstances. I think I've always had a natural curiosity for what's going on for people, and that's definitely helpful as a coach, I think.
I like the way that you say that when people are stressed, sometimes they show up differently to the way you expect them to.
Yes.
As much as it's probably not very relevant, but when years and years ago, I was a dresser at the Royal Shakespeare Company,
Fabulous.
and it was amazing. We'd be in rehearsals, and the actors that I was dressing would be lovely. I mean, just
Mm,
really, really nice. Come to performance, come to press night, they were hellish. And I learned from that that's what stress can do for you.
yes.
That's what, if people are that nervous, the adrenaline is really pumping, then that will come out in different ways.
So I call them accidental monsters. So,
Ah,
you take perfectly nice people, you dial up the pressure, and all of a sudden they behave in ways that actually they wouldn't be that proud of. And
yeah.
I know I've certainly been an accidental monster on, a number of occasions. Um, and it's just as you say, the stress dials up, and maybe you get a bit more terse, maybe you get more a bit impatient, maybe you get a bit directive, ordinarily not the ways that you'd like to be. There's a lovely expression, isn't there? Under stress we regress. So this
Yes.
idea that it doesn't matter how well we might wish to perform and be, ultimately you start to turn up that dial, and we won't be those things.
Yeah. So how do you deal with leaders that seem to not be able to cope with that stress, that are accidental monsters
Mm.
all the time?
Well, I think the first one is something a friend of mine calls the ugly mirror. Show them who are they when they're under pressure. Show them what's the impact. Show them the counterproductive effects of their leadership style. The people who are hiding in the corners, the lies they're being told, the truths they're not being told. The performance that's not taking place, the productivity that's vanishing because So the first one is an ugly mirror, and the second one is for me, it's a bit, back to that looking beyond. Sometimes, if you've heard the expression
Yeah.
toxic leadership can often come from underconfidence, I think. So if you can bolster the confidence, that toxic leadership tends to kind of evaporate. But it can be hard. I've definitely coached people who I haven't always liked the way that they're showing up. You got to kind of play that back to them. Do you know that this is what you're doing? Do you know that this is the impact you're having?
Yeah, I was just looking down because we were talking before we started recording, and you said that coaching is not a luxury.
It's not a luxury.
No, and I've found that as well with what I do, which a lot of what I do, as much as it is around sort of public speaking and standing on a stage, maybe doing a TED talk, it really is about boosting people's confidence,
Yeah.
but just giving them permission and telling them, actually, you can do this. There's no reason necessarily for them not to enjoy sharing their ideas, not to enjoy
Yeah.
running their business. The stress is something they kind of bring on themselves, and
Yeah.
sometimes when you just give them that permission. So I absolutely agree. I think coaching is something everybody should go through, because sometimes you just need that ugly mirror.